Hey everyone, we got Taivas yesterday and you saw me hopefully pull for him. I got actually very lucky. As a matter of fact, I ended up pulling 2 more when I did the fortune summon. So I am going to be able to get my EX plus 3 Taivas if I decide to go ahead and buy the short bundles for him. Or just wait 2 weeks to EX plus 3 him via VIP shorts. I haven't decided yet. Maybe I won't spend money. Personal reasons, honestly. So maybe I'll wait it out. He won't be that super necessary at EX plus 3 for this dark vision. So I might just wait it out. But anyway, today we're going to talk about Taivas, what he can do, what he can't do. So let's get started. As per usual, the overview, Taivas is a super limit burst finisher. He does not have a brave shift, so gearing him is a little bit trickier, and we'll get to that in a few minutes once we talk about the damage builds, etc. Alright, so here is an overview of his abilities and passives. Pretty bare bones kit if you're asking me. A few notable things though. One, he's got that Grandis to get 90% damage mitigation, which is fine if you were ever able to take damage with him, or supposed to take damage with him. It's fine, he will take very little for 3 turns even, which is nice. But in terms of dark visions, we're not allowed to take damage regardless, so in terms of dark visions, this is rather useless. But for trials or say Clash of Wills, if you were to ever use him there, which is highly unlikely, that'd be something to use. The other one, not losing anything more, it's the Grandis done right. Something that Gumi didn't want to give to Oren, they did for Taivas, which I like. 50% amp, 300% attack buff, 250 LB buff, 60 LB gauge, which is normal, but comparing to Oren, I'm further wondering why they shafted Oren so much. Like, Oren does not have the 300% attack buff, so he also only has 200%, if I'm not totally mistaken, so there's just, it's just incomprehensible why Oren got shafted on his Grandis. But alas, Taivas has it right, it's good, that's what we want to see. The other thing I do like is that he has a 120 Ice Imperil and Fire Imperil. It's decent, it's bolting strike frames, that makes things a lot of easier. Like, if you're aiming for the 100 chain score or chaining part of Dark Visions, you can chain him with base attack, dual attacking, Sephiroth for example, easy peasy, good stuff. Now on the passive side of things, let's zoom in a bit. He's got the standard 500 static attack and full LB at the start of the battle. Keep in mind, you need to have Levitas LB for that to be true. Other than that, 150 Beast Killer, 200 Machina Killer. The auto cast with his TMR STMR equipped is actually that he just gains 100% Beast Machina Killer and a bit of attack, if I'm not totally mistaken. So it isn't eligible if you are especially not fighting either type. So it's fine, but ideally you want to use his STMR regardless. So yeah, nothing too fancy. Something that I'm kind of annoyed by is that he only has 200 true double hand. I would have preferred a Trustmaster, Super Trustmaster passive that gives him the remaining 200, just like Titus. It's annoying to gear him for all of the things like killers, LB damage, and true double hand, as well as attack percent. It's just too much to ask for a non-brave shift unit, in my opinion. Has LB and SLB. The LB, nothing too fancy. If you're asking me, the SLB is the real deal. 350x fire physical damage, so just like Sephiroth and Oren, he's locked to one specific element. 130 Fire Imperil dope, that's nice. We do have Louise on the other hand for 135, but if you don't want to bring Louise specifically, 130 Fire Imperil, that's cool. It's better than what Sephiroth has, for example. Sephiroth only has 125 on his base LB. 80% defense decrease and 25% a Greatsword Emperor. Nice. However, he does kind of want to be paired with Cloud for the 35% Greatsword Emperor. And then you gotta ask yourself, is Cloud really worth it, that damage upgrade for that one specific unit? And I'd say no. So in terms of that, they should have given him the 35% treatment as well. But that's just me. Maybe I'm just too greedy for 2 strong units or so. TMR and STMR. The Trustmaster is a Greatsword, 167, sorry, that way around, 167 attack. It's a 2-hander, variance standard 1.0 to 1.6. But the cool thing is, it has 100% Machina Killer, and that Machina Killer is not specific to Taivas. The 300 static attack, they are exclusive to Taivas, but the Machina Killer, that's for everyone. And that is a good thing. It's his personal best in slot for when fighting Machina and Beast due to the innate killers. But otherwise, it is pretty bad for a Greatsword if you're asking me. Especially for 2-handed Greatswords. And the Reina STMR, yeah, we are comparing a TMR to an STMR here. I know, apples and oranges. But the Reina STMR is better for Taivas in most cases, aka every single case other than Machina and Beast. Because that Reina STMR, that does have 100 LB damage and he is really lacking LB damage. And the Materia is the ability that you can gain. It's a Materia that you slot in, you gain a new ability. It is available turn 1, which is one of the big upgrades over JP. And the one thing that you have to keep in mind, it's attackers only. So units such as Angela, Yuna, they can't use this, sadly. And what it does is it increases the LB mod by 30x. It also applies a 250 LB buff, 20 LB crystals, and a 300% attack buff. So this ability is stacked. And it's a crazy good STMR. It was a crazy good STMR to begin with, even before these buffs. But these buffs, boy, are they strong. It's best in slot for literally every LB attacker unit. And the huge thing, I tested this yesterday, is it double, triple, and extuple dips on units with multiple hits. Take, for example, Sky. I tested this on her. And with streamlined things such as everyone gets, or Sky has always the Cetra Aerith buff, so we're only looking at the mod increase, and both hits of Sky got the LB mod increase. So for Sky, this isn't a 30x increase in modification, it's a 60x increase, and that is really good. Now, the damage potential on Sky, for example, outside Clash of Wills is 25-ish% more damage, which is already super high. Effectively, Sky in Dark Visions or outside Clash of Wills has a 305 LB modifier, and inside Clash the difference is only quote-unquote 5%-ish. I think the specific value was 4.555555, continuing of course. It's still a noticeable difference, and it may be the difference you need to cap a fight. So putting this on Sky, because she's a Brave Shift unit, no issues whatsoever. And you do want to use this, and it's still a 60x increase. But like I said, her Clash of Wills modifier is already high at 705, if I'm not totally mistaken. So going from 705 to 735, it's not the highest or biggest increase, relatively speaking, or in relative terms, but it's still noticeable. So yeah, crazy good. And also if you want to meme things up, you can put this on Olive, the original Olive, not Agent Olive, because she has 5 casts of her LB, and each one gets, 30x. And the funny thing is there is a damage ignoring part to LB, which means it'll double dip and quintuple dip. So she effectively has a 300x modifier, which is crazy for such an old unit. But too bad her attack is very low. Anyway, that's all the reasons why this materia is crazy good, and ideally you do want to have 3 to 5 of it. I personally have 4 now, and I think that's a good spot to be in. But we'll talk about this later too. The Vision card. It's a premium card, so meaning you unlock it at EX plus 3. It has only one level, so 125 attack, 80% attack at level, or you gain 80% attack, you also gain 100% physical, magical, machina killer, and FFBE male only units only gain 500 static attack. While this sounds great, this is only usable on 2 units. Now technically more than that, but there's only 2 units, meta units so to speak, that can or should or want to use this, and those are Carton and Taivas. It's okay for all others due to the killer, surely, but again I do want to mention that I would have preferred LB damage over the flat attack. But in case of Carton, if you want to build him for true double hand, for example, this card is exceptionally good for him, especially because of the 80% unconditional attack that he gains. So Carton actually wants this more so than Taivas, and it's one of the reasons why I went ahead and did go ahead and pull on the Fortune Summon, because I do want that card. Mine Carton is EX plus 2, and with this card he can feel like as if he were EX plus 3, even though he isn't. So it's a crazy good card for especially Carton, and pretty good on Taivas himself. But for all else, it's nice for the killer, but that's about it. And now let's get to the damage builds, calculations, etc, etc. So what I changed here is 1 bit, and it's the part where it says limit burst. We are adding the Taivas STMR to all attacker units. Well, technically not all of them, just for the relevant ones. I'll tell you in a moment where I made the cutoff. Other than that, just pause the video, nothing's changed from the last couple of weeks. And this is the Taivas build. It's an example build, and I do want to mention I'm using Dynamite Battle here. It's just for convenience to have a 125 attack card. But rest assured, I calculated his damage with his own vision card in mind. That gives him 500 more static attack. So you will see in the sheet in a second that I am using a 10,281 attack Taivas and not a 9,781 attack Taivas. But as you can see, when fighting demons, for example, the Sword Bow of Unbreakable Faith is arguably, I can't English. It's better than his own TMR due to more attack especially. And on that, he has even the room to fit in his own STMR, which is nice. This one, it's the Taivas Mantle or Taivas Cloak, I don't know the English name. I have it, but I forgot about it. But anyway, Eunice Necklace for LB damage, so he can cap out all things that we need, so that's good. And here's the result. Now, as you can see, Taivas does suffer from not using his own TMR, which gives him another 300 static attack, but he's still doing rather well, especially considering that he, well, or I should put this differently, we are using, he's on a fire team obviously, so he has that 135 fire imperil, he has that Louise field for more damage, but because it's going to be a lot harder gearing him for guns, he will always fare worse than Oren and Sephiroth. Now, I also updated Tifa's gearing for true double hand, and she's an outlier in all of this because I geared her for her best in slot case, meaning fighting against humans, I believe. And that's the reason why she's so high up on this list. But Tifa, in a true double hand build, she's crazy, crazy strong. She always has been, always will be. So please keep that in mind, that Tifa is geared towards one of her innate killers, something I don't do for anyone else, but people kept asking me to calculate true double hand Tifa, so here it is. Tifa is the #1 DPS, but again, she's very hard to maneuver correctly, especially because her LB has such weird frames that you are forced to bring Cetra Descendant Eris for that, and that's another headache to use, to be honest. So yeah. Still, all in all, Taivas fares rather well with his own 25 Greatsword Imperil. If Cloud is on the team with his 35 Imperil, 35% Greatsword Imperil, Taivas moves up to rank #2 on this list, dealing 10 billion damage on his own. So there is wiggle room, and you can make a cause or an argument that you should use Cloud in conjunction, but I would say Cloud is not a good assumption for him. Other than that, all in all, Taivas is a decent SLB finisher, but as you can see, on average, he will perform worse than Angela. So that is always to be kept in mind. Angela will, on average, perform better than Taivas. Alright, so how does he fare in the meta? He's literally Fire Auron, but a little bit better due to the better Granders, and because he can chain Bolting Strike, which Auron can't. Auron would need the blue wave materia to chain anything, because Auron, all he does is single hitting. So another thing I want to mention about... Oh, by the way, forgot something. Let me move back one slide. I'm so sorry about this. And as you can see, the cutoff for units that I redid with the Taivas STMR in mind is Sky. Sky, as you can see, moved up a bit. Everyone else did so as well. I just assumed that it's going to be possible to do the Taivas STMR on Sion and Kurasame. So that is something to keep in mind. All right, let's move back to here. So Taivas has no Brave Shift, and this means that his gearing will tremendously suffer. If you want to use resistances, evasion, killers, LB damage, attack percentage, and also use his own STMR, it's something has to go. And for the most part, it's either going to be his own STMR or LB damage or killers, and none of them are good options to take away from. So let's hope that whenever we have to use Taivas, we can ignore resistances. And that's probably never going to be the case in Dark Visions. So we'll have to see. So yeah, like I mentioned, gearing issues, just because the true double hand meta, etc, etc. Some things can be mitigated by using Rain and Fina STMR, but not all of it. The good thing is though, when you make him work, he does deal a lot of damage, partly because he's a premium unit with 350x or 380x SLB. So should you pull? His STMR is super strong and will see constant use in top tier Dark Visions and Clash of Wilds teams. For Clash of Wilds you only need one for the time being, that is for Sky. For Dark Visions, you ideally want 3 of his STMR, max 5 I'd say, although that is already pushing it because, truth be told, for the most part you need 2 units to chain in Dark Visions, and this leaves you at 4 LB finishers. So there is a case to be made that 4 is already more than enough, but I want to cover all my bases for some weird strat with a tag chainer, and let's say 5 is good. 5 is the absolute maximum you should get. 3 is a very good spot to be in too. So all of that should be fine. The warning I want to mention is though, he's a premium SLB unit. You've been warned. He is going to be super expensive unless you're super lucky like I was yesterday. He himself probably won't see much use or play due to the limited gearing and falling in behind in terms of damage versus True Double Antifa or in Sephiroth, and on average Angela as well. So this is something that you might want to keep in mind. If you're not planning on using him in Dark Visions, EX plus 2 is certainly enough. EX plus 1 or EX plus 0 if you're only looking for his STMR, that is fine. But then again, the vision card is best in slot on Carton. So there is a point to be made that if you want to score highly in Clash, going for that vision card isn't the worst option. Then again, we've seen that Carton slowly starts fading out of the Clash meta. And I'm personally liking this because I didn't get my EX plus 3 Carton, but I am fairly certain that, or let's say I'm hopeful that Carton won't be all too relevant on the best teams for the next Clash of Worlds. And I will try and make a team work without Carton. That depends obviously what the next Clash of Worlds unit is that we get. I hope it's not a tank. I hope it's a damage dealer that may make Curtain absolutely irrelevant. That'd be awesome, but we'll have to see. Still, Curtain, I mean, he's a good unit regardless for ODKing things, but in Clash of Wills, I'd rather have him gone than keeping on. So yeah, all in all, gathering all the information we've had, if you want to compete in Dark Visions and or Clash, you should get him mainly for the STMR. So EX0, EX1, EX plus 2, all good enough. But if you want to make further use of your cow game and step up your cow game, you should go all the way to EX plus 3 for your Curtain, because Curtain will certainly benefit from that vision card. But if you don't care about the above, so if you don't care about Dark Visions nor about Clash of Worlds, skip him. You'll save a lot of lapis in the process, because at the end of the day, if you don't really care about Dark Visions or Clash and just want to get over it with it, don't really care about your scoring or so, you don't need the card. And especially don't need the STMR. So you're safe to skip him. Alright, and that concludes our review for today. Thank you all for watching. We'll see each other tomorrow for more dank visions. It's going to be a rather boring day though. It's just day 2, so one-shotting ensues. Alright, so yeah, have a nice rest of the Friday evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you're from. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.